everyone, it's Neptorka here, and we're back for another Gacha War for the month of November. Now, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of new releases coming for the month of November in terms of characters. Not too much, not quite as filled as October was with new releases. However, this is going to be the first full month for several of those games that came out in October, so we'll get to see, how well they did. I'm particularly interested in a couple of things. I want to see if I was correct about Stellasaura and CZN. We will see. I don't think necessarily that Stellasaura will beat it right away, but I think eventually Stellasaura is going to make more money than CZN. The other thing, I would love to see how Chisa did in Wuthering Waves, as Wuthering Waves has become more of a Western audience game, but Chisa really played towards the Japanese market. So I'm curious to see how popular she was over in that area of the world. And then I don't think there was anything too big for the other games. HSR, this should be, if I'm correct, this should be the month for Cyrene. So this month should be absolutely massive, and HSR should be number one. And if it isn't, then I will be surprised. So let's go ahead and get into this. Like last time, since I'm going through the whole list, I'm going to be really skipping through a lot to get to games that I actually know about, because there's no point to me commenting on games that I know nothing about. So, all right, let's go ahead and get to it. So, Rememento White Shadow EOS, which is kind of disappointing. It came out the same time as that terrible Etheria mid-start, and I just can't believe that Etheria mid-start managed to do well and Rememento didn't. It's just kind of weird. So, Rememento, RIP, see ya. I don't really know. Well, I've heard of Tribe 9 before. Is that a Hoyo title? I can't even remember. I think it is. But some of these old games, they had it coming. Black Beacons is coming. Hegan Uruthiel is coming. So they're not going to last long. Neural Cloud. I want everyone to see this right here. Like, Mika hangs on to their games like no other. So seeing Neural Cloud here, and it's still just continuing to go, even though it's a Girls Frontline title. Even though it's doing so poorly, makes me feel better for something like Girls Frontline 2. In case it ever starts to do bad, they'll just keep it going, which is what I want to do. I want games to keep going. So let's go ahead and keep going. I did play Elysia Astrofall. Honestly, it wasn't that good. So I'm not surprised. It's not succeeding it's not succeeding at all. Haze Reverb. Once again, I tried this. It didn't work out for me. So also not surprised to see it this low, though no change in revenue, which means that the data is probably incomplete. Astra, Knights of Vita, another one that I tried, and it's got some flashy animations, but that's it. And same thing with Starseed. I'm not surprised that this is just not doing too well. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Here's Girls Frontline, Eversoul. I'm surprised it still manages to hang on. Counterside, I believe most of its revenue at this point may be in Steam. I could be wrong, but there's been a long enough time for it to be out on Steam, and for people to migrate off of their phones and over to Steam so that they can have the memory of their the memory on their phone be used for, or their storage space on their phone be used for other games. So most of the people who are actually spending money on this game a lot of them have probably already migrated over to the new game. Overfield, I've never heard of this. At the end of every one of these, I need to go through and take a look at some of these games. Ash Echoes, I expect this to survive for a little bit longer, and then I don't think it'll survive for too long. More Idoli. Man, idle games just like they last forever. Rishi City, I believe this is a Smilegate game. Don't think it's doing that great. Another Idol Master. Resonance Solstice. I did give this a try. Honestly, I just don't think it's that good. Um, it's got like a good UI and everything set up. Like it has like a good first impression, and then after that, it just kind of falls apart. So, unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to survive, and this number is only going to go further down as the time goes on. Mormons is a title I think more people are discovering. And I have a feeling that this game, especially with how popular CZN is going to continue to get higher and higher. So we'll see. Because when I played it, I was really impressed by it. But I knew that the game was very much like CZN, and I just like I can only have one of those types of games. So I decided to just like put it out of the way for now. Who knows? I may come back to it at some point, but let's see if this title continues to gain steam and momentum. You know, plus 15 up the charts is pretty big. It pretty much doubled its revenue. And I guarantee you, I don't think this is from a new character releasing. I think this is from exposure finally getting it, which means the marketing team for Mormons needs to be fired. Because if they had a good marketing team, they probably would be in that top 50 area. All right, Valkyrie Connect. Why does that name? I don't know why that name sounds familiar, but it is. Outer Plane. I expect this game to die because Smilegate's resources are going away from it and into CZN and Epic 7, so I just don't expect this to last very long. Echo Calypse, man. This is a true Gooner game. It honestly, that's the only thing holding it together. I think the gameplay is pretty crummy overall. Tower Fantasy, this should now be basically free to play, so to say. Now we'll see how it does. Honestly, I don't think it's going to last long enough for them to keep the lights on. More Idolmaster. Lost Sword, barely missing out on top 100. I mean, I'm playing Lost Sword, but it's nothing special, and I don't know how long it'll last. I enjoy it. It's quirky, and it's easy to kind of like just sit and forget. And a character came out this month that was pretty, like, I really liked him, Palamades. I can't even pronounce her name. However, the previous month was, I believe, the Cow Queen, which just had massive milkers, and I'm sure that contributed to 500,000. So only dropping 100,000 after going off of that, after coming off of that banner is actually not bad. We'll see how the Christmas months do, but considering that it managed to hold its revenue pretty steady for that, that's actually pretty good. Let's Dislight. I still can't believe Dislight's making money. It's just not that great. Silver and Blood. I finally put this game away. Same thing with Mekarashi. They were nice for a little bit, but I expect them to just continually decrease their revenue as more games come out and people can become more interested in other games, and these kind of fall by the wayside. Silver and Blood's story, though, was pretty entertaining to go through. I will say that. Mekarashi's, not so much. Mekarashi's biggest problem with Mekarashi is that, you know, the units, you pull for characters, but you never see the characters. You never see animations of the characters. You only see animations of robots, and it's for that it just kind of kills it for me, and I'm sure it kills it for other people. Snowbreak is coming off of a there was a new banner, which was Mia, which, I mean, I loved Mia, and a lot of people loved Mia, but it's also coming off the heels of that insane Fenny swimsuit banner, so it doesn't surprise me that the revenue dipped back down below 1 million. However, this is still pretty decent for Snowbreak. This is kind of a watch listed, wait and see. You gotta wait and see on this. Langrisser still holding in there after, gosh, Langrisser's been out for like, can I like click on this and see when it came out? No. This came out forever ago. Um, Still hanging in there. Princess Connect Redive. I wish it was still doing well. Oh my gosh. Epic 7. Holy drop off. Oh boy. This is not good for Epic 7. This is right after their anniversary. Uh, Holy shit. This isn't good. This is pretty bad. And look at this. Look at how much money they're making off of China and how much extra effort they're having to put into China for them to not put forth revenue. That's not good at all. Um, wow. I'm shocked by this. The unit that came out was Sexy Nurse Yulha. Uh, I mean, she's pretty amazing. Uh, yeah, it's not Lady of the Scales, but Lady of the Scales came out in September. So the fact that, wow, this is really really bad. Um, I don't know what else to say. Let's see. We got limited banner Sigret, and before that was Saria. So most of this month has been Saria with a little bit of Sigret. So there is that. Setsuka came out in September as well. So those are all September releases, not October releases, which is what this is comparing to. This is this is not this is actually a pretty big shock for me. I can't believe it dropped so hard. Now, the only reason I can think of this is that a lot of Epic 7's, a lot of CZN's player base went over from Epic 7. I'm wondering if that's where it came from. We'll see how things go, but this is actually kind of shocking. I'm surprised this happened. It makes me a little bit worried about the game because that is one of the games I enjoy the most, and it's going to be really disappointing if it can't go further because of this. I actually just skipped over it because I was so shocked by Epic 7. Sword of Convallaria managed to rebound a little bit. Honestly, I just don't think this game's going to survive. And I say it's not going to survive, but it's not going to like fall apart like several of the other games, where it just drops by like 200,000 every month. I think it'll stay in here around this. It'll slowly go down like over time. We're talking like 5% every month or so. It's going to start dipping at a very slow rate, but eventually it's just not going to really survive long enough. When you come into the market, you have to be really unique and different. And unfortunately, the character models in this are competing with Brown Dust 2. And Brown Dust 2 is just on the rise because it's like super gooner. And it's, Brown Dust 2 actually has enjoyable stories and whatnot, quirky parts of it that just make it entertaining. And Sword of Convallaria is like Brown Dust 2, but like clean. it's like it's like safe for work. So, Sword of Convallaria is a safe for work Brown Dust 2. I mean, different gameplay styles, but the art style is somewhat close. So honestly, I see this not being able to outlast Brown Dust 2, which is a shame because Sword of Convallaria is younger than Brown Dust 2. Anyways, Honkai Impact third, not really much to say there. It just continues to go to do well. Now, huge drop off for Brown Dust 2. That's to be expected. There is a huge. Usually December is just an absolutely crazy, massive month for Brown Dust 2. And I expect this. If this is 2.8 million, I'm expecting. And this is 1.4. So it dropped in half. 50% loss. I expect it to go. I expect it to. Oh man, this thing will break 3, 4, maybe even 5 million by December. Because what's gonna happen is they're gonna release another like specialty skin. There's gonna be the rerun of the bunny skins, the bunny girls. There's gonna be new bunny girls. It's going to be an anniversary. There's going to be spending stuff all over the place. I expect this to, let me see, where was its height? 5 million. I expect it to reach that peak. That was around its anniversary. And this is what's coming up is its half anniversary. And it'll have one of those specialty skins. I expect it to jump back up again. And this is because everyone was preparing for it. Like it was coming. The writing was on the wall. So, yeah. Brown Dust 2 is going to explode next month. Count on it. You'll see it. Pokemon EX Masters, AFK Arena, no data, okay. Love Brush Chronicles, probably a, it's probably a girl gooner game. Heaven's Burn Red, hanging in there. Like I've said many times before, it's really a shame this didn't come out right away in global, otherwise it would have been way more popular. I really need to read down Slime Isekai Memories and see how it's doing, because this is impressive that it's continuing to do this well. I can't believe that. Fire Emblem Heroes, I'm not surprised that it's falling off a cliff, and there's apparently no data, but when it comes to Nintendo revenue, no data usually means that they don't want you to see how poorly it's doing. And I have a feeling that this is just collapsing, especially with that stupid new Fire Emblem Shadows. It's clear they're trying to shift away from Fire Emblem Heroes. They feel like the game is too old. The game came out, it's like 9 years old now or something. 8 or 9 years old now. 8 years old now, I think. I think they're just trying to shift away from it. It'll hit its 9-year birthday, I think, in February. And I don't know. It seems like everyone's upset with the game. I think this is in a death spiral now, which is unfortunate because this is like my first gacha game ever. Let's see. Ethereum mid-start. Oh, finally. Look at this drop. 8.2 million down to 2.1 million, and I hope it continues to drop. The reason I'm cheering for a game to drop is we should not reward games that are poorly made but have an immense amount of marketing, and that's basically what happened with this. Limbus Company, I still don't know much about Limbus Company, but, you know, it seems to be hanging in there, so I'm not going to say much more than that because I don't know much about it. Alright, let's see. Here's Girls Frontline 2 Exilium. Now, Girls Frontline 2, I believe, just, let's see, this past month was, well, this is hard to gauge because Leva and Lena just came out and has literally like 4 days of revenue. And that's what would be the big, you know, money maker for this. This revenue may increase in December, so it may be even higher at the end of December. But it won't be that much. It'll be like maybe 3 million or so. It's not going to go up much, but I think it will improve. So I'm glad that it's continuing to do well, and it will continue to do well, despite all those losers out there that freak out over a gacha skin. Like, I don't like gacha skins either, but come on. Like, you're freaking out, way overblowing it. Path to Nowhere, I have no clue what happened here. But this is a good gem here. I played it for a while. It was entertaining. Trust me, if you want a good tower defense, but you don't want to get into Arknights, this one's good. Shining Nikki. I don't know how this is related to the other one. Yeah, I don't know how this is related to Infinity Nikki. So that's actually kind of interesting. Wizard Variants Daphne, has this ever changed? It's been 4 million for 3 months. I get the feeling that they're just not getting any more data in this game, and it's probably fallen off. Like, I'm betting it's fallen off. So, alright, here's Stellasaura. Like, they didn't beat CZN, but this is 4 million after its initial launch of 3.8 million. Now, it had about 10 days to get 3.8 million, so it got 4 million with a whole month. Look at this Japanese revenue. Like, this is a huge. This is going to be a huge game for Japan and Korea. Like, this is right up their alley. And I expect its revenue to just continue to be steady or increase over time. I'm surprised China is not doing a little bit better, but I've been enjoying the game. It's a pretty good one. Shadowverse is another card game but this is more like Hearthstone card game. Came out before. Still continuing to do well. Blue Archive, we have a huge, we have a huge Blue Archive anniversary coming up. Now you can see China here and global. It's not that much money, and you look how much money Japan makes them. Now this is incomplete data, so I don't know exactly how much Blue Archive made, but Blue Archive is very similar to Stellasora, and you can see just how well Blue Archive does. You know, this right here, January 2025 was global anniversary. This, I think, around here, these two split months with the 9 million, this is, I think, where the split in the Japanese anniversary was. This game has been doing good for a long time, and I expect Stellasora to kind of mirror that going forward. Memento Mori, I'm still surprised this makes so much money. Like, there's almost nothing that happens in this game. So that's pretty impressive. Azure Lane, this is really cool, okay? It managed to retain its 5 million from the end. Let's see, was there Oh, no. 5 million. So during the 5 million in October, that was the pirate, or the old like the old ship's Halloween event, okay? And then Azure Lane managed to retain that as they went into the Data Live collab, which is awesome. I love Data Live. It's about to end soon, but this is pretty sick. And you can see, Japan spent their money on it. Looks like Global did too. Damn. Well, this data is incomplete. Maybe this inflates it a little bit because this data is incomplete. But if iOS had a increase of 25%, then I would assume that Global would have the same increase as well. So being able to maintain 5 million is not bad. I'm actually surprised, though, when you look at here. This is actually on the lower end from what it usually makes. So we'll see what happens. Last December was a UR event. I can't remember what it was that made so much money. But, this is a UR event. May is a UR event. This is where the UR events are split in September for the anniversaries. So we'll see. But I'm glad to see that it's just holding strong here. All right, let's move up. I don't really recognize any of these. Reverse 1909 continuing. Excuse me. There was really no anniversary type event that came out in November. Let's see. Global just had Sentinel release. We're reaching the end of the Sentinel banner, and it probably had the tail end of the Nautica banner, but I mean like the really tail end. So being able to only drop 1 million, have a very slight downgrade across all regions. Well, the China revenue was okay. That's why it stayed close to the same. I'm betting the China revenue dropped a bunch, because China is kind of in a lull for the game, and it's going to peak back up again. But this is pretty good, man. Being able to retain this well, I'm impressed. So, let's see, continue to move up. More Idolmaster, Marvel, Seven Knights Rebirth. Honestly, I played this. I thought it was terrible. I think it's going to drop off even more as time goes on. Here's Infinity Nikki. Yeah, kind of just looks like it's gotten over its hump. It's gotten over its disastrous start, and it's starting to do well now. So China loves this game. So yeah, damn, Doing pretty well. ZZZ, I believe I said last month that it would probably drop even more. And sure enough, it did. This past month was basically just Dylan and then the bare end of, gosh, was it Orpheus? I think. No, it was we had Lucia, and then I can't remember who else was on that banner. I can't even think of her name, but the chick with the ice hammer. I'm not surprised that it dropped. I'm very satisfied that it only dropped a little bit. It could have dropped more, but this is healthy for ZZZ. I think this is pretty good. We're starting to get into the top 15. Chaos Zero Nightmare. This is pretty good. I was worried after its initial launch that maybe it wouldn't be able to do as well, but it managed to increase its revenue over the course of the month. So not just staying steady, but increasing its revenue. Compared to something like Stellasora, CZN had less time in October to generate this 6 million. So it's possible that some of that kind of flowed over, but overall, when you compare it to Stellasora, this was an improvement over what Stellasora was able to do. Now, I'm still holding by like 6 months down the line, this will reverse, and I think CZN will have a harder time catching up with Stellasora. It all depends on how much the Japanese crowd attaches to Stellasora, but this is pretty good. Unfortunately, this is also what I think is really hurting Epic 7. We'll see if that's the case down the line, but good job, man. I hope it stays there. It's a game that's I'm struggling to get into, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That happened with ZZZ. Part of the reason is they don't do a very good job of explaining their systems. It's kind of frustrating to deal with. So, all right, Fake Grand Order. I still don't know why people spend money on that game. SG Gundam Eternal, huge drop off. That's interesting. I'm surprised in that. Now, here we go. Wuthering Waves. We have a... okay. We still have some incomplete data here. And I'm sure that it increased more than it probably... than normal, but this is pretty healthy for Wuthering Waves. Chisa did her job, man. Especially after 2.7. I'm impressed. Let's see, 2.7 was Galbrena and Chui Yen. I can't even pronounce his name. So this going up, that shows you how popular Chisa is. Now, I expect this to go even further. I think we're going to be getting 3.0 like maybe on like Christmas Day or something like that. I don't quite know. We'll see how much of a jump that gives in December. Now you can see last December this was a disaster. Renacida came out in January and that really revived the game. Okay, and you can see a June patch with Cardathea. But ever since then, it's been holding really steady here, which is good. This patch right here was the Augusta patch. And then everything else in between was, not characters that just weren't that popular. So I'm glad to see that it's holding steady here. I wish they would stop. I wish they would come up with their own ideas. Maybe they will with Laha Roy. But overall, and another thing is they need to bring more events out. Like there are a lot of complaints that I have and I know other people have about the game that aren't inside the, the clique of people who just glaze it 24/7. Hopefully these are addressed. Otherwise, I think the game it'll feel like the floor was ripped out underneath them because you have these people up here glazing it nonstop and then no one's talking about the problems. And once, that balance shifts and the problems become bigger than, people are able to out propaganda the people who are upset with things in the game will plummet, and I don't want that to happen. So hopefully they address it. There are new games on the horizon, though. It's going to have some tough competition, but this is a good solid number for Wuthering Waves. All right, Genshin Impact dropped. Oh man, 36 million. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised, right? We had like what Non-Cry release around October time, and now we get Nefer. Basically, wasn't that what this patch was? Was basically Nefer, and then an extra. I can't remember. It was like Arlecchino. Yeah, this is totally expected. If you're a huge fan of Genshin Impact, don't worry, it'll rebound. But there is a downward trend for the game. I think there is, and they probably notice it too. And I wonder how they're going to fix it. But it's no longer. I don't know if it's their number one moneymaker anymore. That's actually a good question. I don't know if that is the case. Nikke had an anniversary. I mean, what can you say? Nikke had an anniversary with Nayuta and Liberalio, and like me and many other people were just spending like no other. Well, I wasn't spending. I don't really spend much in these games, but I burned all of my resources trying to get who I wanted in there. So Nikke eating well, doing good. One problem that I have with Nikke is they really have a boom and bust cycle. I mean, you can see here, what came out in July. May was another one of their big events, and then something came out in July, and I can't remember because the swimsuit event didn't happen until August. So I can't remember what this was. It may have been a skid, to be honest. But as you can see, when we compare it to last year's anniversary, it is a dip down. So didn't quite do as well. But last anniversary was freaking Cinderella, and everyone wanted that shit. So we'll see what happens. But usually it's December and January numbers continue to do well as well, because they have a special December event, which is about to come out. And then they also have an event like at the very end of December, beginning of January, that usually is another Pilgrim character. So these events are usually like an absolute banger for Nikke, and I expect them to continue to do well. This number will drop, as it always does. This is always the highest month of the year for Nikke, but expect it to only drop to like 20 or 19 million. It's just continuing to do well. All right, Ume Musume, Love in Deep Space, Pokemon TCG. Just continuing on. Actually, Love in Deep Space dropped a bunch. The guy wasn't hot enough. And then Arc Knights. I have no clue what came out in Arc Knights. Looks like China server. Huge. So there must have been a big release over in China. But damn, that's pretty good. And as I predicted, like I knew this would happen. Honkai Star Rail Cyrene release, 81 million. We saw it coming. We knew it was going to happen. If you didn't think this was going to happen, you were stupid and crazy. This is quite possibly... This quite possibly is one of the most profitable games now. 81 million, 92 million, 103 million. So this is Castris. This is Finon and the Fate collab. This is this is Cyrene. When you compare that to Genshin, we had 99 million. This was Mawika. So that was pretty good. But, I mean, you look at this average revenue, I would say that maybe there's some months that Genshin does better, but it's very possible that Honkai Star Rail has become their highest grossing game now. It's just... they're knocking it out of the park a lot of times. So, definitely... I'm happy with where Honkai Star Rail is. I do kind of wish that the stories were a little bit shorter. Uh, but I understand where they're going with the stories, so it doesn't upset me that much because I understand, their direction and so forth. But I mean, even you can tell there's a tone shift even in just the online internet space. People are no longer shitting on the game as a whole. They're saying, I noticed this the other day. Someone's comment. They're like, "Yeah, the story is really good, but that's the only thing going for them." So I mean that was his opinion on it, but 4 months ago he would have been like, "There's nothing good about the game." So now we've come to the part where people are starting to acknowledge that, yeah, there are parts that I can no longer like shit on and not be called a fool on the internet, which it's a culture shift, so to say. So pretty big results for November. I think the biggest surprise by far is still Epic 7. I I'm still blown away as to what happened there. So a lot of cool stuff. I'm very interested to see where CZN continues to end up. I'm very interested to see where Stella Sora continues to end up. Both are great games. I'm actually interested. Actually, after seeing this, I'm interested to see if Azure Lane continues to hold steady. Same thing with Reverse 1999. This game has continually just inched up there bit by bit because this is a fantastic game. So I mean that's impressive. We'll see if ZZZ with I believe we're getting Yi Shun Wang. I think she's coming out at the end of the month too. So we're gonna see ZZZ and Wuthering Waves fight each other again. I think Wuthering Waves is gonna do better. We'll see. It also depends on when they come out. Like maybe it may be that they only announce stuff on that last week of December and then it doesn't come out till January. We'll have to see. But overall, a lot of my games are just doing great and I'm very happy with that. The only disappointing things are Fire Emblem Heroes and Fire Emblem Heroes is dying. I really think that's the case. And also Epic 7. I'm really worried about Epic 7. That's the biggest shock out of all of this. Otherwise, most of this is easily predicted and was 100% right. I think CZN will turn back around next month, probably drop back around to 6 million. I think Stella Sora will just stay where it's at and will continue to hold the line. I could be wrong about that, but we'll see. CZN has a very clear defined plan, and that's good. And then ZZZ and Wuthering Waves, I think it all depends on basically when their patch drops. I think that's going to decide how well they do. So that's going to be pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. We got some good revenue. Not too much unpredicted stuff for this month, but mostly positive stuff for at least a lot of the games that I play. If you're playing, Rememento White Shadow or whatnot, I can understand things are not looking good. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this reaction, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Neptorka out. See you guys.